we will begin our second half, and we're starting off. Morgan Smith is joining us and will be our presenter for the next presentation. And Morgan will be his topic. It's called "Sitting Still to the Beat of My Own Drum." And Morgan has studied Eastern philosophy, metaphysics, and meditation for almost 2 decades, splits his time working as a mentor for youth and at-risk families, and as a spiritual life coach. He's a mystic philosopher, a certified meditation instructor, and brainwave entrainment facilitator. He's also a provincial youth outreach worker and a former facilitator for the Strengthening Families program. Morgan's desire to help others overcome difficulties and find inner peace arose after a spiritual awakening in 2008. Following this life-changing event, he developed Yinnergy meditation, a grassroots project that encourages emotional, mental, and spiritual growth through audio-induced deep meditation. He is also an inspiration for the book, The God Behind the God by Aaron Herbert. In his presentation, Morgan will talk about his introduction to Centerpointe research and the Holosync program, which was founded by the late Bill Harris. He will discuss how his daily use of this technology led to his emotional, mental, and spiritual transformation that started in 2003. He will also explain how he uses sound technology via Yinnergy to experiment with other traditional and modern practices, and how years of this method eventually led to his spiritual awakening that began in 2008 and continued until December 2019, which is the time when he experienced a kundalini awakening and a state of non-dual absolute monism that he relates to Turiyatita, a level of consciousness that means literally beyond the fourth. So without any further ado, I'll present to you Morgan Smith. Please take it away, Morgan.
Thank you so much, Ted. I'd just like to thank the whole Institute, ICR, for putting this all together. I just wanted to let you all know that back in 2007, I used to go to your website to read all your articles. That's how I first learned about all the different aspects of Kundalini. So it's a great honor to be here today. I just want to put that out there. I also want to just send out a quick shout out to Linda for recommending me to this conference. So I just want to give her a big shout out. She'll be coming on after me. And also to Joan, because I just want to say to Joan, I just want to say thank you, because last year I watched one of your presentations, and that moved me to the core. So I just want to let you know that, and what you've done throughout the years, and the information and the knowledge that you possess. I thank you, and the world thanks you. As Ted was reading there with my bio, I am a youth outreach worker, a provincial youth outreach worker. I've been working in the community. Actually, I work in the same community that I live in and that I grew up in. So I've been working in the community as a frontline worker for the last 16 years. And which led to that because I was in the entertainment business, doing stand-up comedy for about 12 years and doing a TV show for 9 out of those 12 years. And it didn't feel fulfilling. And so I ended up leaving the whole entertainment business, took 2 years off, and then I found myself in this field. And I've learned so much in this field. Not only did I work with marginalized youth and families, but I also work with, now I also work with children on the spectrum, and children with physical disabilities and intellectual disabilities. So all of that, it's something that, if you know my background, it's something I would never do as I was growing up. And now that at this stage, it's something that I feel that it's a need, especially in the community that I'm working in. Today I have a presentation for you, and I'm going to start it here. I'm going to share my screen, and it's about a bit of my journey in regards to how it got started, which was through Holosync. It's through an organization called Centerpointe Research, and they have a brainwave entrainment program which is called Holosync. And I never knew, like back then, after hearing about this meditation program and how much that would have such a change in my life. To the point that it encouraged me to and inspired me to come up with my own version, which I will talk about in a second here. But I'll get started with the presentation here, and you'll get to know a little bit more, and also with my work that was inspired by Holosync, and what led to a non-dual spiritual awakening. Let me share my screen here. Here we go. So as it's called sitting still to the beat of my own drum, and the beat of my own drum, that means two things. I'm an Aquarius, so a lot of people will say, well, Aquarius people like to beat to their own drum. Not that I have any ties to zodiac signs or anything of that sort, but I am a type of person where I do beat to my own drum. I do bend the rules. I have a history of that. So that's where that comes from. But also, it also means binaural beats. So binaural beats is the basis of what Holosync and the Yinnergy that I came up with later on that's the foundation of that program, which is made up of binaural beats. So that's where you get the phrase to the beat of my own drum. So we'll get started here. So in December of 2019, December 14, 2019, is when I had what many will call the full awakening, the full realization. A non-dual experience, which is beyond words. If I try to talk about it, I could do that, but it doesn't, whatever I say about it doesn't do it any justice. There is no words to describe what took place on that day. But that didn't just happen right away. This took a while. This took a lot of training, a lot of upheaval, a lot of challenges, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, even physically. Physically, that was probably one of my biggest challenges. So this happened in December of 2019. So this is after 16 years of doing this meditation, which is brainwave entrainment, where binaural beats falls into that category. But there's other types of entrainment as well, such as isochronic tones, binaural tones, and there's many others that falls into that category of brainwave entrainment. But I'll get to the full realization somewhere close to the end. And Ted, if you can give me the mark at maybe 40 minutes, because after I finish the presentation, we're also going to do a 13-minute meditation session using Yinnergy. So if you have your headphones and your earbuds, just have them ready if you want to participate in the 13-minute meditation session that I have prepared for you. So just be ready for that. So maybe around 40 minutes, and then it'll give me time to wrap up, and then I can get the meditation ready and everything and ready to go.
Okay.
Thanks. So with the full realization, I don't think I need to tell everybody here. I'm sure a lot of you already know a lot of this stuff, but it goes by many names like metanoia, Turiyatita, the one taste, absolute monism, nirvana, moksha, and the list goes on with all the different names. And there's many more, which you'll hear why people have these names and what they're trying to express when it comes to this non-dual awakening. As I said, my name is Morgan, and I'm currently a provincial youth outreach worker under the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. I work with marginalized youth and families in the underserved areas. Outside of my work, I'm also a spiritual public speaker, teacher, and meditation facilitator, which I've been doing for quite some time. And there is just some photos of the youth that I've worked with. A lot of these guys are now grown, now in their 30s, in their early 30s. But a lot of these people have also used Yinnergy in their practice, either in a group session or in personal growth sessions by doing it on a daily basis and things of that sort. In regards to my background, I was born in Kingston, Jamaica in 1972. I moved to Canada with my mom when I was 9 months old. I was raised in a Pentecostal church, and my dad is a church minister, or was a church minister. He's now the bishop of the church. I became a born-again Christian and was baptized at 8 years old. At 16, I started to question my Christian beliefs. At 17, I wanted to pursue and start to pursue a music career. At 18, I left home and I left the church. And I left home at 18 after I had my first mystical experience, actually. It was an experience where an angelic being entered my room. It was like this giant, not a giant, but a real tall being wearing a white, bright robe, and it was angry. And the experience was, while I was sick. I had a throat infection during that time. And so I was laying in my bed, and this being entered my room and took me and flipped the bed over me. And as I'm underneath the bed, I crawled up from underneath the bed, ran into my parents' room to tell them what happened. They came in rushing in to see what was going on, and the bed was totally intact. It wasn't even moved. And that was my first experience. That was the moment that led to a lot of curiosity. Though I didn't do anything about it for many years, but it was something that was always in the back of my mind in regards to that experience, to exactly what it was. Was it real? Was it a hallucination? It felt so real, and it's something that I always questioned. But that was the beginning of my journey, I would say. After I left home at 18 and I left the church, I went into stand-up comedy for the next 12 years. I did stand-up comedy for 12 years, and out of those 12 years, at 25 years old, I co-hosted a successful TV show for 9 of those years with my partner in crime, Darren Jones. This is a Canadian thing, so if you're from Canada, you may know some of the stuff. If you're not, you don't have a clue. But that was my partner in crime, and we did this successful show, won awards, and all of that sort. It was pretty successful in Canada, where I'm from. As I was saying before, in the last 2 years of my career, or at least with the opportunity that I had in TV, I wasn't fulfilled. A lot of things were going well, but there was something that was empty, and there was something that needed to be filled, but I didn't know what it was. Along the way, I met people within in showbiz that are part of my journey. They don't even know it, but they actually helped pave that way for me, just through mentorship and just through their recommendations and things of that sort, which led me on a different path. After trying out light and sound machines, which I was doing, one of my friends who's in the entertainment business, Andrew Bain, she said she recommended hypnotherapy, which I tried. And I was only trying hypnotherapy because I wanted to get better at my auditions. So I found a place and did some hypnotherapy with this place. And they had these light and sound machines. For those who don't know what they are, they're these devices, and they come with headphones, and they come with flickering glasses. And what they do is, when you put the glasses on, it flickers light in your eye. And when you put these headphones on, it plays these beats, which are binaural beats. So trying out these, and this is what they use when they're doing their therapy sessions. So as they were using these machines, I was really intrigued by them, just because it was technology. I really like technology, even though I'm not good at it, but I like technology. So I asked a lot of questions about these machines and what they do, and why do they use them, and that sort of thing. And after a while, coming to these sessions and using these machines, using these devices, I was really intrigued by them because I liked what it was doing for me. It actually made me a lot more creative. It allowed me to come up with material from my TV show, and also for on stage. And I was really intrigued by them. So I wanted to order some for myself. So I went on site, and I found a company that was selling these devices, and I bought one for myself, and I bought one for my friend. Her name is Tara, and we started to play around with these devices. After a while, they don't work as much, because after a while, your brain and nervous system gets used to them. So I wanted to see if there was something deeper, something that can continue what I was experiencing. So one Saturday night, I went on the website and I found this company called Centerpointe Research. So I went to the website, and the person who was speaking, his name is Bill Harris, the late Bill Harris. He passed away back in 2018, and he was saying some remarkable things about meditation and what his version of meditation can do, and it was just so outlandish. And I was like, "There's just no way what this guy's talking about can be true." So, but I was intrigued enough to order the free sample that they had. So I ordered the free sample. It took weeks to come because this is back in the day when everything was through the mail, and Holosync at the time were using CDs. So I ordered the free sample online, and then weeks later I tried it. But on the sample, he's just explaining how the program works while you're listening to the binaural beats. So I listened to it. Nothing really happened or anything like that, but it was enough for me to say that I want to order the actual program. The program is about 13 levels, and the reason why it's 13 levels because each level gets stronger. So he can't give you level 13 right away because it's too much for your brain and your nervous system. So you start off with level 1 that has a lighter or a higher carrier frequency, which has less amplitude. So weeks later, the actual program comes in the mail, and I remember putting it on, but I used it incorrectly. So it's an hour-long program, and there's a reason why it's an hour and why you have to listen to from the beginning to the end. But what I did was I listened to the last half hour of the CD, and that moment I was listening to the CD, something started pounding on the top of my head. This pulsing was happening on the top of my head, and at this time I didn't know anything about chakras or anything of that sort. None of that stuff was even known to me. But I felt this sensation just happening on the top of my head. And I was like, whoa, what is that? So I continued using the program because of that moment that happened at that moment. So I continued to use the program. And shortly after, all these amazing things started to happen, like very shortly after. Some of the things I have listed here, heart and head bliss, euphoria, eureka, flow states, intoxication and getting stoned without taking any drugs or drinking any alcohol, full body internal orgasms, which gives people a laugh. People always laugh when they hear that, but it's true. One time after doing Holosync, and I was combining that with a Qigong method. And what happened later that night, I woke up in the middle of the night and I was having a full body orgasm from head to toe. Every inch of my body was having this orgasm. It was all internal, and that lasted for about 4 hours, and that blew my mind. Lucid dreaming was another thing that happened, which was another extraordinary experience. It was a 3-day event where every night I went to sleep for 3 days. I had these intense lucid dreams that were so real that I was aware that I was in the dream, which everybody knows about lucid dreaming. But even if I took my hand and scraped it against the brick wall, it would cut my hand. And as I looked at my hand would heal in front of me. That's how intense this was. But everything about it was so real, except for the events that happens in the dream. Like you'll see dinosaurs and skeletons on horses and things, and giant hands coming out of the ground and grabbing people and pulling them back into the ground and things of that sort. That's how intense these lucid dreams were. Lucid sleep, samadhi states, but I didn't know anything about samadhi at the time, and jhanas, I didn't know anything about that. But these things were happening, and then a lot of synchronicity that happens to this very day. I was so intrigued by this technology that I wanted to learn how to make binaural beats. So I wanted to learn how to make the binaural beats. So in 2006, after 3 years of meditating with Holosync, I downloaded a tone generator and started to experiment. Now with brainwave entrainment, it's a very simple technology. At least on the basics of it, in the beginning stages, it's really, really basic. So it's really simple. So if you had two sine wave tones, two sine tones, and you played one in the left ear and one in the right ear. So in the left ear, if you had a frequency of 205 hertz, and in the other ear you had a frequency of 210, your brain will create a beat frequency of 5 hertz. So it's really, really simple. So it's just playing the difference of the two tones that you're playing in your ear. So it's two pitch frequencies, and then the center of your brain creates a beat frequency, which is making it up. It's not even a real audio. It's making up the audio. So it's an audio hallucination, and it will create a beat of 5 hertz. And it's really that simple in regards to how this type of technology works. This has to do with brainwaves. So brainwaves are electrical impulses within the brain, and they're shared between neurons. So there's different types of brainwaves. So there's beta, and beta is a fast brainwave, which is I have it written here. Beta is a frequency of 13 to 30 hertz. And then you have alpha, and alpha is a frequency of 8 to 13 hertz. Then you have theta, which is slower, and theta is a frequency of 4 to 8. And then you have delta, and delta is a frequency of 1 to 4 hertz. And you have faster brain waves, such as gamma, which is like 40 to 100 hertz. Actually, it's 30 to 100 hertz. And then you have lambda, which is about 100 to 200 hertz. But below delta, which is 1 to 4, is also epsilon, and that's 0.1 to 1 hertz. And there's even slower brain waves after that, which I'm experimenting with right now. But I don't have anything to say about them yet because it takes a while to collect that data. After 5 years of doing Holosync, so 5 years religiously every day, never missed a day, kept doing this every day along with other practices. In 2008, the awakening happened. And this awakening, it was more like a Kensho type awakening. So a Kensho meaning a glimpse, stream entry. And this happened in 2008. And at that time, I was 36 years old. This event was so life-changing. After 5 years of meditating and doing all the other techniques that I was doing, to have this experience, it was something that really, really shocked the core of my being. I remember I was meditating, and I remember getting frustrated because I knew that I wanted to have an awakening, but I didn't know what that was. I read about it. I've watched people like Osho and people talking about certain things, but I couldn't get a grasp of it. And it's something I knew that I wanted. So I remember I was sitting there and I was meditating on a Saturday afternoon, and I think I did a good hour of Holosync. And then I got frustrated, and I remember just ripping off the headphones. And at that moment, something happened. And what happened, it was so extraordinary. I can't even put it in words, but it was what I know now. It sounds like it was like a causal mystical state of pure emptiness, a pure empty witness, which was this pure essence of being, which you may call Turiya, which is the fourth state. It was the experience was so earth-shattering that my sense of self, it seemed like it went into the background as this thing came to the forefront. And it was this experience that was so divine that I remember walking around in my room and looking at everything, and everything just became divine. So it was divinity looking at divinity. I would pick things up, and when I picked them up, not only could I see what I was picking up, but I could feel from the perspective of the thing that I was holding. So just say, for example, if I was holding a book, and this is just a shameless plug, but God behind the God. So it's just say I'm holding a book. I can see from the perspective of the book looking back at me who's holding the book. And that's how insane it was. I remember I decided to walk around my room, and then I decided to leave my room to take a look at my children. And I remember passing the room, the bedroom of my children. And as I looked at my kids, all I saw was myself just beaming right back at me. I went to the washroom, same thing. Anything I looked at in the washroom, same thing. As I looked at it, it was beaming back and looking back at myself. It was so profound. This left me in a state of shock for about 2 weeks. I didn't say anything to anyone. I didn't mention it to anyone. And I just sat with this. I was just in awe when this thing took place. So it took me about 2 weeks for me to even say anything. And after around the 2 week mark, I did go to a colleague of mine, a person who I worked with. His name is Michael Israel. And I went to him because he's a non-judgmental type of guy. So he was the first person I went to. I went to a second person, and when I told him about my experience, he's an atheist. So when I told him about my experience, he shut me off. He cut me off. He hasn't spoken to me to this very day. That's how offended that he was when I told him this. But that was enough for me to keep going with what I was doing. I felt that I was on the right path, so I kept doing what I was doing, still using Holosync. But in the meantime, I was playing around with this the software, trying to come up with my version of this technology. But soon after, and this was in a period of 2 years, I started to speak about it publicly. I started to speak about it with my circle of friends. Most people just went over their heads, of course. Other people were intrigued by it, and other people were offended by it. So a lot of that stuff happened. But during that time period, I had a lot of spiritual insights. During that time, I gave up meat, and I haven't had a piece of meat till this day. But during that time in 2008, I gave it up because the experience that I had, I was one with all people. I was one with all beings, all animals, reptiles, insects, microscopic creatures or organisms, everything. I became one with all that. And I could feel everything from their perspective, or at least from the animal's perspective. So I gave up meat. I made a vow to myself to never eat meat again after that moment. And I'm not against anyone who does, but that was just a personal vow that I made to myself, and I stuck with it. I ended up writing a lot of literature, philosophy. I wrote songs, poetry, visual arts, everything in regards to spiritual awakening. About a year after that experience, so this is about in 2009, I heard a coworker of mine who's also a person who's on a spiritual journey, and we used to run a lot of workshops together. And I remember one time he mentioned something about the number 9, and that the number 9 is a sacred number. And for some reason that stuck with me. So that just kept playing in my mind. There's something about the number 9. Why is it so sacred? So one time I was listening to a podcast, and the person who, I don't remember who it was, but the person who was being interviewed spoke about a mathematician by the name of Marco Rodin. And according to Marco Rodin, what happened was I did look him up afterwards, and I found a 4-hour workshop that he was doing on YouTube. So with Marco Rodin, he created something called vortex-based mathematics. So vortex-based mathematics. And he discovered this when he was probably about 15 years old, maybe younger, maybe 14, 15 years old. And he figured this out by reading the Baha'i Faith, one of the books of the Baha'i Faith. It may have been the main sacred book of the Baha'i Faith. And he realized there was a repeating pattern in there in regards to, it was the same in the Baha'i Faith, it was the same with Christianity, it was the same with Islam, it was the same with Hinduism and Buddhism and so on, that there was always this information that was mentioned in their sacred books. So he came up with this whole thing where he created the map. So if you look on the left-hand side, top left-hand side, and you see this map, and that's called the symbol of enlightenment. And actually, you know what? Let me give you a better example here. So here's the symbol of enlightenment. And it's a simple map, but this map can do various things. It can do all forms of mathematics. Any field of mathematics can be done on this map. This map also represents the universe, but also represents the cell. It represents the brain, the universe, a cell. It represents tornadoes, hurricanes. It represents music. It represents traditional computers. All that stuff this symbol does. So it's very simple in how it works. So if you look on the map, you'll see this this wing symbol in the circle, and that wing circle is actually the number 8. It's actually the infinity symbol, which is called a limnoscale. So it's done that way on purpose so that you can measure using numbers. So in this map, you'll see the numbers 1. Let me just use my mouse here if I can find it. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And according to Marco Rodin, these numbers repeat into infinity. So this is the algorithm throughout the whole entire universe. This is the algorithm that represents mitosis. It represents the musical scale. It represents binary codes. It represents rendering, everything. It represents everything, including antennas. Sorry, not antennas, but electrical coils and so on. So the numbers 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is the repeating number. But this number, the repeating number, is it's a doubling circuit. So you have 1, but double 1 is 2, and then double 2 is 4, double 4 is 8, double 8 is 16, but 1 plus 6 gives you 7. So we write a 7 instead of a 16, and then 16 plus 16 gives you, I can't see the rest of the screen down here, but I'll just guess it. So double 16 is 32, but 3 plus 2 gives you 5. And then you bring it up to back to number 1, because 32 plus 32 is 64, and 6 plus 4 gives you 10, and 1 plus 0 gives you 1, brings you back to 1. So if you always break it down to a single digit number, you will always get the pattern of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 into infinity. Also with this map, it does a lot of different things, as I was saying. All the numbers here are mirroring each other. So number 1 is a mirror of 8, because 1 plus 8 gives you 9. 2 is a mirror of 7, because 2 plus 7 also gives you 9. 3 and 6 gives you 9, and 4 and 5 give you 9. So if you did the multiplications for each of these numbers, which you can see here, and you crunch them down to a single digit number, they will mirror each other. So you have your 1, and if you took the month-time tables and you crunch them down, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But if you look on the other side, if you look at number 8, and you took the 8 times tables and you crunch them down to a single digit number, you get the same numbers, but in reverse. So you get 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 9, and so on. And it happens with 2 and 7, 3 and 6, and 4 and 5. And this is where he's showing that these numbers, which also, if you add them up, also gives you number 9 if you crunch it down to a single digit number, and how these numbers, how everything is perfect if number 9 represents divinity or God or Brahman or Abha, and the list of names that all the different names that we know of that you can call Allah is another one, and so on and so on. There's something else here. Also, with this map, it also does the multiplications of 9. So in the center, you see this thing in the center there, that's supposed to represent a 0. So 0 and 9 are the same according to Vedic mathematics. So you can say that 9 is the whole, W-H-O-L-E, and 0 is the whole, H-O-L-E. And they're the same. And there's a technique that I could show that shows that they're the same, but I can't do that now. But just take my word for it for now. So if you did the 9 times table, so for example, 9 times 1 gives you 9, but 9 times 2 gives you 18. 9 times 3 gives you 27. 9 times 4 gives you 36. 9 times 5 gives you 45. 9 times 6 gives you 54. 9 times 7 gives you 63. 9 times 8 gives you 79. 9 times 9 gives you 81. And 9 times 10 gives you 90. Back to the 9 and the 0. So it's just this map that's showing the perfection of everything that's happening in the entire universe. This is what is called the torus skin. And the torus skin is made up of the same numbers that I mentioned, 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, but also in reverse, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2, 1. And in the center, which is the 3, 9, 6, 6, 9, 3s. So if I go back a bit, I'm just going to go back a few slides. So I go back a bit. If you look at the same map, you have 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, and in reverse, you have 1, 5, 7, 8, 4, 2. And it creates these other numbers, which is the 6, 9, 3, 3, 9, 6. So here you have your 6 on your left, your 3 on your right. 6 is supposed to be considered a negative number, and 3 is considered to be a positive number. But that changes every time you hit that number. So it's -6, +6, 9, +3, -3, 9. And it keeps going back and it keeps altering in that sense into infinity. The 3 and the 6s represents the 4th dimension. The 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 represents the physical dimension, and 9 represents the omni-4th dimension, which is omnipresence. And let me just go back to where I'm supposed to be. And this creates the vortex skin. And this vortex skin is absolutely everything in the universe, whether visible or invisible. And this is what creates the skin. If you look at the universe as being a torus, which is really a donut shape. So in the donut shape, in the center of the universe is a black hole, and in the black hole it creates the big boom, and on the other end it creates the big bang. So everything that goes to the big boom, that's everything is being destroyed, and everything that comes out from the bottom, from the big bang, everything is being manifested or being created. And this is a cycle of renewal that happens for eternity. I'm not going to get into this too much, but this is just different aspects of the same thing I was talking about. So the whole torus skin is held together by a nexus key. And if you look down on the torus skin, you'll see that the nexus key numbers, which is 116529743883479255. You have your doubling circuits, which I mentioned already, the 12475s and the 157842, and then you have your major grooves, which is your 69339. Those numbers, when we're working with these numbers, you never touch the 396693s or the 669339s because those numbers are sacred. You only play with the physical numbers, which is the 12475s and so on. I was trying to find a way how I can use this math in binaural beats, with binaural beats, which took a while for me to do. But I would think about this every day. I'd contemplate on this every day until I would actually end up having a breakthrough. So one time I was working out with barbells, and as I was lifting the barbell, I pictured the barbells being numbers, and I was in the center of it. And then it hit me. If you look at the same symbol again on your on your left hand corner, if you see where the 0 is supposed to be, picture me being in the center, and the numbers on the left and numbers on the right are the barbells, or the dumbbells, or the barbells. And that's when it hit me. So what I did was, I took the same numbers of 1, 2, 4, 7, 5. I took a row of it, and no one's going to really understand what I'm saying at the moment because I have to show you on paper. But I took the one strip of these numbers, and I took it and I turned it to the side. And when I turned to the side, I divided the two sides, the left and the right hand side. And that's when I realized that all I had to do was make a binaural beat that represent each of these numbers and combine them, if that makes sense. So I had to take the numbers that were on the left side and find a binaural beat for each of these numbers. So the binaural beat had to, when you crunch down the binaural beat to a single digit number, it would have to add up to a 5 or a 2, a 7, a 4, an 8, and an 8, and so on. So if I took if I took a frequency of 211 hertz or 211.1 hertz, and you add it up together, you get a 5. And if you look in the left ear, you see the number 5 in red. And if I took a binaural beat of 210.7 and I crunch it down to a single digit number, you'll get 10, and 1 plus 0 gives you 1. So that will represent my 1. So I just had to find a binaural beat to represent each of these single numbers and crunch them down to single digit numbers, so I know that each of the numbers that I'm choosing are the right numbers for your left, and the right ones for the right numbers for your right. This is kind of the same what I said before in regards to what happens when you take two binaural beats and then you get the difference of the two. So in this case, same numbers, 211.1 going versus 210.7. So 211.1 subtracted by 210.7 gives you a beat frequency of 4 hertz. So that's just a basic example of what that is. Now, to make these things stronger, as I said before, Holosync was made up of 13 levels because they lowered the carrier frequency. So, which I did the same thing. And to find the carrier frequency is pretty easy. So if I took 211.1 hertz and subtracted by 17.1, I get a frequency of 194 hertz. And in the right ear, if I did the same thing with the 210.7 and I subtracted by 17.1, it gives me a frequency, a pitch frequency of 193.6 hertz. And then it will give you the same beat frequency of 0.4 hertz. And that led to the creation of Yinnergy meditation. And at the bottom, you'll see different types that I created. And the reason why there's different types, because there's many different things you can do with these numbers. So I made different versions based on the numbers of the algorithms that I created out of the 1, 2, 4, 7, 5s. So it created all these different ones. I can't really see my bottom here only because this thing is in the way. Let me see if I can move it. Yes, of course I can move it. And if you see the ultrasonic Yinnergy goes the opposite direction. So they're really, really, really high pitch frequencies up to 20,000 hertz. And so you can't hear them. The human ear can't hear 20,000 hertz. Well, at least most people can't hear 20,000 hertz. So this was a whole different type of Yinnergy that I created, which is ultrasonic Yinnergy, and so on. With here, not going to go to this too much, but Yinnergy is set up in a way, and also with Holosync, it's set up in a way where it works in a linear fashion. So if you take a frequency of 223.1 hertz in the left ear and 211 in the right ear, it slows down. So you have these two frequencies. It slows down for a 20-minute period. And after 20 minutes, it holds you in a frequency, in this case, it holds you in a frequency of 3.1 hertz for 40 minutes. And that's where all the change happens. So all the stuff that's stuck in your subconscious mind or in your unconscious mind, it starts to bring up all that repressed stuff up to the surface. And that's where the healing process starts to happen.
Okay, Morgan?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to get into your meditation.
All right, so it's about 40 minutes now?
It's 3:40.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me wrap this part here. This is some other stuff, other prototypes that comes out of those numbers. Just a quick example here. And also too, when you know how to use the numbers, you can do a lot of incredible art that you can do with mandalas and things of that sort. So all that stuff is the same numbers that makes the binaural beats, the audio binaural beats. You can also do them visually. And here's some testimonies from people, hundreds of people that have used this program. Either they've used it once or they've used it on a regular basis for their personal growth. And Yinnergy has led to all different types of mystical experiences in my life, whether it's nature, deity, or causal mysticism and all that. But I can go on for days on that. And it led to the non-dual mystical experience, which took place on December of 2019. And have all this here, which I won't go through right now. And of course, this is not the end. This is only the beginning. So in the future, I'll have a lot more to say of all the stuff that's happening in my life and also in the life of others. So here we'll end the screen here. So we're going to go into the meditation. It's only 13 minutes. If you're interested in trying it out, make sure you have your headphones. I have mine here. I'm going to put them on. All you have to do if you're doing the meditation with us, all you have to do is just be sitting up with your back straight and your eyes closed. And that's all you have to do. You just have to sit there with your eyes closed. What I will do though, after you hear the audio, when the audio, I'll be speaking in the audio, but when it stops, I'll give an introduction to something that you can do to add to your meditation, but you don't have to do them. You can just sit there with your eyes closed and it's good enough. So I'll share my screen again. All right, so if you're all ready, hopefully you have your headphones plugged in, and I will start. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.
Turiyatita, the undeniable state, which is the ultimate non-dual presence, the supreme state of the fully liberated self, which is the union of emptiness and form. This is a self-realized state of the highest level of awareness, the full actualization that all is Brahman. This mind-shattering moment is an experience that can never be utterly described, nor can it be articulated, for it is a stateless state no human being could ever vocalize. This total phenomenal state of awareness of the indescribable is the ultimate nothingness filled with all potentiality that has always existed and will always remain. For years I've struggled to talk or even write about this, simply because there are no words that can be transmitted from the mind to vocal cords or to the flowing ink of the pen, because what has transpired can only be expressed through everything around us, above us, beneath us, through us, and lies within us. For the universe we live is a result of a language well spoken, which can only be uttered and is currently expressed by the Absolute of the Absolute. This previous state of illuminated awareness has left me dumbfounded, to the point where I know that I will continue to be awestruck by the greatest self-discovery of my entire existence, an unforgettable memory that is forever deeply engraved onto the pieces of my shattered ego. Though all of this is virtually unknown to the mass majority, it is available for all to witness, and if one dares to swim in the depths of the Akashic waters, one will blissfully drown. Lastly, this noticeable presence is the invisible field, This is a force that is the foundation of all being, and in this ground of all existence, one will come to realize the indescribable, known as God.
So as you sit with your back straight, eyes closed, I want you to relax the top of your head. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your mouth. Allow this relaxation to run down to your neck, all the way down to your shoulders. Now relax your arms, your biceps and your triceps. Allow this relaxation to run down to your forearms, all the way down to your hands, all the way down to your fingers. As you continue to sit, I want you to relax your chest, relax your upper back. Allow this relaxation to run down to your spine, all the way down to your lower back. Now if you can relax your stomach, allow this relaxation to run down to your thighs and your hamstrings, all the way down to your knees, all the way down to your calves. Relax your ankles, relax your feet, and allow this relaxation to run all the way down to your toes. As you sit with your back straight, breathe into your nostrils, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out, breathing again. Hold your breath for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. Hold your out breath for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in again. Hold your breath for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And breathe out. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in again. Hold your breath for 7 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. Hold for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Breathe in one last time. Hold your breath for 8 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe out. Just hold for 1 second. 1. Continue to breathe. In and out. Continue to relax your upper body. Relax your lower half of the body. Relax your upper body. Relax your lower body. Now relax your whole entire body. Continue to breathe through your nostrils, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, and breathing out. continue to breathe through your nostrils. there you go. That is my time. Thank you for listening and participating in the meditation. And I hope that you feel relaxed and feel at ease. And that's my time for today. Thank you, everyone.